Hey everybody, I'm Jill Redfern and welcome to Third Shift Movement Shop, home of Literal Technique. This tutorial is an introduction to Rectus Abdominis. Rectus Ab, I'm going to shorten it to Rectus Ab, is one of the four abdominals and also one of the 7 muscles central to our alignment. Rectus Abdominis stabilizes the vertebrae, stabilizes the pelvic barrel, and also flexes the vertebrae forward. So I just want to remind you, this is a tutorial that's going to show you some anatomy of rectus ab, but this is also a dance technique tutorial. We need to understand where this muscle is and how it works so that we can use it properly and effectively in our technique. So let's take a look at this muscle. First up, I just want to show you what it looks like so you know where it is in the body. This is rectus ab. I want to take a tangent for a second and show you a picture of transversus, which we talked about in a previous tutorial. But I want to remind you, transversus is the deepest abdominal muscle. It has this gray area in its center. Rectus ab lies directly on top of that area in the transversus abdominis. So here's rectus ab again, lying on top of the aponeurosis of transversus. Rectus ab originates in 2 places, one at the pubic crests, which are aspects of the pelvic barrel, and also at the pubic symphysis, which is another aspect of the pelvic barrel. Let's take a close-up look at pubic symphysis. You can see this blue area that's delineated on the pelvic barrel. The blue, lighter blue, is the pubic bone. Each hip bone has an area that's labeled the pubic bone. Each hip bone, the hip bones join at the pubic symphysis, which is this darker blue inside the yellow circle. The pubic symphysis is basically cartilage. It's got a little bit of flexibility, but for the most part, this is a pretty stable situation. So if we go back now to rectus ab, these are the 2 insertion points of rectus ab. You can see up at the top of the photo, the xiphoid process. There's an arrow and it's pointing to that bone, that's the area of the sternum that's circled. The other insertion point of rectus ab is the costal cartilage of ribs 5 through 7. In this photo, the cartilage is underneath the muscle. Let's take a close-up of the sternum. The sternum is one bone. It has 3 aspects that have different names, and the xiphoid process is that aspect of the sternum that's at the very bottom. That is where rectus ab, one of the places where rectus ab inserts. Okay, so what I want you to take away from these photos of the anatomy are a couple of things. First of all, remembering when muscle contracts, insertion moves toward origination. So when we talk about what rectus ab does for us in our technique, it stabilizes the vertebrae, stabilizes the pelvic barrel, and flexes the vertebrae forward. You can see here's cartilage 5 through 7 on each side. It's inserting here. It's inserting here. It's originating from this area. So when this muscle contracts, this moves toward the pelvic barrel. Depending on the energy of your contraction, you can either stabilize the vertebrae and the rib cage barrel, which of course means you're stabilizing the thoracic vertebrae, or you can really apply some contraction and you can flex the vertebrae forward. So if I'm from here, that's going to flex forward from that point. The other thing to know about rectus ab is it helps us correct the place where alignment tends to break at the thoracic vertebrae. And it does this because it's inserting here and the contraction will bring that area into alignment. So if you are pitched up and you contract rectus ab, it's going to bring the rib cage barrel down, which means it's aligning the thoracic vertebrae. So two things that are important. If we cannot stabilize the vertebrae and the pelvic barrel, we're going to have a hard time doing complicated movement when we dance. So if you want to combine transversus and rectus ab, remember transversus is originating and emanating from the vertebrae and the bottom of the rib cage barrel and the top of the pelvic barrel. It's inserting center line straight down in the linea alba from the xiphoid process down to the pubic crests. So there's some overlap in rectus ab and transversus. Remember, rectus ab is lying right on top of transversus abdominis. So those two muscles together have overlap. They work together. What they have in common is they stabilize the lumbar vertebrae and the pelvic barrel. So in your class this week, lying on the floor, close your eyes and visualize rectus ab, where it originates, where it inserts. Visualize its contraction. Contract to stabilize the vertebrae. Contract to flex the vertebrae. If you want to take it up a notch, you can add transversus into your visualization. See where they have overlap. One of them inserts at here and the other originates here, for example. But these muscles work together to stabilize the vertebrae and the pelvic barrel when we dance. So when you start to move in your class, focus all of your physical knowledge on rectus ab this week. Exclude all other muscles from your physical energy and think about rectus ab. Feel how it stabilizes the vertebrae when you contract it. Play around with the extent of your contraction and what it does to the vertebrae, and get a real feel for where this muscle is and what it does for your technique. Okay, I'll see you next week.